How to set up a service as of November 2023. So when you open up ProPresenter, you'll see the last week's service. You can right-click delete it under the playlist, then go to the plus sign up by library, go to Planning Center Services, go to open up worship service. Then you'll find the next one as the very top one. Highlight it, click select. You'll see nothing presets up. We have that set up that way to save storage. So then you're just going to kind of start going through and filling stuff in. You're going to click the magnifying glass pretty much next to all of them. And then it should, for the most part, generate automatically in the search underneath our ProPresenter library what these are. So side screen announcement loop. You're going to link that. One thing that you'll need to do with this is just do a quick check over to see if stuff has already happened, and then you want to remove stuff that has already happened. So in this case, this has ended November 6th, so we'll right click and then delete it. That's no longer there, and then it looks good for everything else. So we can now click on media and go over to the announcements smart folder. And scroll all the way down and notice that there is one more announcement that's new. Any new stuff that's been uploaded will be at the end. It auto formats to the newest uploaded. So then we can see that's December 15th. So now we're going to highlight this, find where December 15th fits in here. In this case, it's between the casting call and the Christmas cookies, because the Christmas cookies are the 19th. 15th, 16th happens there. So that's what we do for that one. Close the media. Now we can highlight for the welcome loop with the magnifying glass. Bring that one in. For the countdown, we can bring that in. Welcome and announcements, we can bring it in. Link that. Now this is last week's announcements. Technically, I will still be doing that, so you don't have to worry about that, but that is kind of how it gets added in, and then I will update these based off of the list that Jordan gives me for the following week. I'm not going to add that into the video. Then call to worship. We can check on Planning Center to see if it's been added in. In this case, it's almost always a response at this point. So response call to worship, we'll add that one in. And right now, this is just a filler from last week, but we can leave it for now. I'm going to leave the songs for the moment, and we'll come back to songs. So now we're going to generate the offering prayer. Same thing as before. Actually, that is in the wrong order. Offering slide should be before offering prayer. So I will be going back into Planning Center and fixing that, but we can continue to generate stuff as we go. So offering slide here. And then give me just a second to fix that. So all I'm doing is I'm in Planning Center Services and I'm reordering how stuff goes. All right, now that there was the reorder officially done, we see update available. We're going to hit the refresh button there. And now it reordered according to Planning Center Services. So sermon background generates a sermon background. Message graphic scripture, same thing. I will be working on this, so you don't have to worry about that part. This is last week's stuff, and then when the pastor gets them to me, whoever's preaching, I will be fixing all of that, so that's not an issue. You don't even have to generate any of that. Communion slide over here. We're going to leave the song for a second, and then see you next week's slide. Can generate an announcements loop. Because we already set it up with the first announcements loop, it will automatically come back here with the new announcement in, as you can see. So as long as you do it once, you're good to go for the rest of it. We're going to come here. Now we're going to go generate songs. So we're going to do the magnifying glass. What we see right here is in our libraries, we don't have something called Wesley Prayer already, because that is a new song for us. So what we're going to do is move over here, to multi-tracks. And then it comes up. What you do need to check is make sure that it's the correct artist. And it does look, it matches what we have in Planning Center. So we're going to highlight it, click import and link, and then make sure the key is the same. We're not really working with keys right now, but it's still just good practice to work on that. Make sure the lines per slide is 2. Make sure the library is worship songs. And then the theme doesn't really ever change, but just in case, we can do Stillwater themes, Stillwater services, and then new white text with black background is the theme that we want. And that should be the one that auto-generates. And the size is always going to be the same. It's the 1920 by 1080. Then you'll click import. And then a quick glance at it. What you will see is that you're going to want to double check the sequence is on full. That should be what matches what we have sequence-wise in Planning Center. And you're going to want to kind of make sure that the layout of the text is the same. You cannot go over 2 lines per slide due to how we live stream. I don't know this song off the top of my head, so I'm not going to sing with it to spare everybody. But I will end up pulling up a YouTube video to kind of check that my line breaks make sense where it is within each grouping. If it doesn't make sense, what you can do is go up here to reflow, and then you can reflow it up here. Say, for whatever reason, on the chorus, you don't like that it says, "Come like a fire, oh burn in us," twice in one line, but you want it to be one line being "come like a fire," the second line be "oh burn in us." What you can do is you can highlight the end of the line, hold down the option key and click enter, and that will create it as a new slide, and then you can reformat how you want to go with that. I think it'll be fine the other way, so I'm just going to undo that, but that is a way that you can do some quick editing on the fly with the reflow. So then I'm just going to leave this for now. We will come back to fill in backgrounds and stuff. Next song is Be Thou My Vision. We, again, don't have a version of it in our library, so we're going to come over here and figure out what artist version we need. In our case, it is Reawaken Hymns is what we have in Planning Center. So we're going to scroll through, find Reawaken Hymns, and then import and link that. The key we actually have in Planning Center is A, so I'll change this to A, just kind of have it as a standard. It is changeable, and it's not really important right now because we don't do chords on the screen, but for future setup, it is good practice. So now we're importing that. Again, I don't recognize this song a ton by myself, but I would come back with a YouTube video after doing this recording and kind of check my orders and stuff. But at a quick glance in terms of sentence structure and line words without knowing the flow of the song, these slides make sense visually. So "Be Thou My Vision, O Lord of my heart" is one complete thought. "Not be all else to me, save at Thou art" is also another complete thought. So we can kind of work visually if for whatever reason you don't have the chance to look at a YouTube video. Now coming down to the next song, "The Heart of Worship," we do have that in our library. So we can just do "Heart of Worship" in our library and then link it. And so linking it from our library, what that tells me is that I don't really need to check the song order in terms of slide structure to make sure that the lines are correct. From there, it should be pretty solid. Being that this is the last song of our worship set, you want to make sure at the end slide that we do have the clear audio, which you can see by the icon here, but also we do have it right here. And so then we're going to go up to the first song, and neither the first or the second song will have clear audio at the end. This just kind of allows it to flow between the pads if we decide to do that. So what we can do up here is do media, And what I like to do specifically with these to kind of make it flow really nicely is I will take the background from the call to worship and make that the background of the first song. That way the backgrounds flow as we're going between them, basically. And so from here, we're going to come over to the right side and click on macros and find lights, praise, and worship. And we're going to bring that here. We do technically have that on the call to worship as well. What we can see is this purple macro right here, as well as having an audio cue, which I'm going to click on edit. And it sees that we have an ambient pad A already queued up with the call to worship. So in this case, because Wesley Prayer is also in the key of A today, we don't actually have to add an audio cue. For good measure, I tend to. That way the next time that song is queued up, if it's not used right after a call to worship, we do already have it in there. It's setting it up and preparing us well for future times that we use the song. So those are the two that we need for that. Because it is the first song, or because it's not the last song, we don't need to add a clear audio slide. So then we'll come down to Be Thou My Vision. And because I noticed that this one has lines and squares in it, I tried to match it somewhat to have a flow. So it's going to be different but similar. So in this case, we have a square and some lines. And so I want to come over here to monochrome 6 and look at, we have some squares and line as well, or monochrome 4. And we also have squares, and it's a circle, but it still has that square rectangle base. So I'm going to do monochrome 6 over here for the background for this one. And in this case, Be Thou My Vision is also in the key of A, but just for good measure, I'm going to add that pad back in there. And I'm also going to add the lights for praise and worship, setting us up well for other ones. The lights are cue ons only, so it won't be you can cue it off. It will only ever turn it on. So you don't have to worry about double queuing lights and it like messing with them. So again, this is not the last song, so we don't have to add an end audio cue. And then coming down to Heart of Worship, let's see what action it has. It already has the pad A in here, so we don't have to worry about that because it is also in the key of A. And now because we use monochrome 6 for that one, and it is squares and lines, I'm going to space out and use monochrome 4 for this one right here and do that for this background. And we already have the audio cue in there. And then as we already added, we have the ending clear audio as well. So that is good to go. For the offering prayer, what you can do is click on it and then reflow over here. I'm going to quickly open up Planning Center so that way we can find it from here. And we have the call to worship prayer right here. So what we can do is we can come over here, highlight it, and then so we can highlight this over here, Control C it. We can delete this second slide. Now we can come here and paste it all there. And what we can see is the formatting is not right. So what we can do is we can right click on the slide, go to Themes, go to Stillwater Services, and then find Text Offering, and that will adjust the formatting. Being that this is obviously too long for a single slide, this is now where we're going to start kind of tweaking the text. And so I'm just going to format it to make it look good. And we don't want to overdo the amount of text. So probably up to suffering is going to be good for the first slide. So now you're going to hold down Option and hit Return. And then it opens up a new slide for us. Not sure why that cleared the theme, but we can come back here and add the theme again. And for this one, the the warning, the media not found is incorrect. The media is there, as we can see because the background's there. But, so we're just going to kind of continue to ignore it for that. I am working on trying to figure out why that's showing up without media, but it does work. It's been tested. Let's just work with that for now. So let me have nothing is a good ending point for that slide. So we're going to come here, themes, Stillwater Services, text offering. Let's see. All things, we're going to kind of reformat all of this. And so I think so be it's a good ending spot here. And then let that be the case. And then we can end with amen. I'm going to try to fix this theme real fast. Text offering. So what we're going to check this theme is we're going over to the theme editor. Coming down here to text offering. I just want to see this. This media is being funky. So we're going to actually delete that media. This isn't super important, but it is fast to add in. So now I am coming down here. We are doing monochrome 8. Is this the media for this? You're going to use the existing, and then we're going to pull that object down underneath the verse. That should fix our media issues. Let's highlight all of these. I'm going to change the theme, Stillwater Services, text offering. And there we go, that fixed the theme, and that got rid of our little error that it didn't like it. So now we can go back to show. And look, this is all set here. All of the things that you see with the little green bullseye on the side, and what you'll see also over here means those are announcement layers only, which means those go to the side screens. What we see now here for like sermon background is if we right click, edit, we can remove action, and we see clear announcements as an option. That's this little megaphone is the announcements thing, and then the X mark means it's for clearing it. Also over here what we see is this giant X bar that will clear all screens. This one clears just announcements, this one clears media, that one just clears the slide. I blinked as all of a sudden what that one meant. Then we have clear audio and clear layers. This one doesn't matter, that's for recordings and video inputs. This one's for messages, which we don't utilize that, or video inputs ever. So lastly, we're going to come down to have my heart, and we're going to scroll through and see have my heart is in the key of A. It doesn't look like we have it in our repository, so we're going to go over to multi-tracks and find it. The artist is Maverick City Music, so it's that first one right there. We're going to import and link it, and it's in the key of A for us today, or for this weekend, so we're just going to import that. And then we already see it's on full. We can see right here, for one, we don't need the double intro for our slide person, so we delete the one of the intros. But we can see right here is this, despite being put as 2 lines only, is now on 3. So we will have to go in and edit this. And again, I don't know this song directly off the top of my head, so I'm not going to do that without listening to the song, and I'm not going to make you painstakingly sit through listening to the song with me on YouTube. So we're just going to pretend, and then I will edit that once once this recording is done. So we're going to right click on ending, add the action, going to clear audio to add the clear audio at the end of this song, because it's the communion it's a communion song, so we don't have to have it flow into something else. Then we're going to come up here, and we're going to come over to audio. We can add ambient pad A since it's in the key of A. We have already cleared announcements with the communion slide, so we don't have to worry about adding a clear announcements. What we do need to come over here is come over to our macros and add the lights communion worship song. This is very similar to the praise and worship song, but it includes the lights on the sides to allow for prayer people to be able to kind of see people that come up to them. So now we're going to come up to media, and we have our communion theme, and so we're going to find the one that matches that. In this case, it's monochrome 3. So we're going to highlight and click and drag that over here. And now the service is pretty done. I'll have to just, personally, because I'm doing the sermon and the announcements, I have to go in and edit those. And the last thing that you would need to do is to make sure our line breaks are good on all of the songs. But because I don't know all of these songs off the top of my head, at least I don't think so, I'm gonna not make you watch all the YouTube videos with me to go through that. So hopefully this helps, gives it a work through, and good luck.